Thanks, baby.
But this album, aside from it being sonically different, is very personal, like we said. I would love to go through every song and talk about each one individually.
Let's do it.
Well, we don't have time, so we'll pick a couple.
Okay,
but let's go.
I can give you the calls notes.
Okay, let's do Love Myself. Talk to me about what that's about and what you were going through at the time when you wrote this.
Yeah, Love Myself, it just made sense that this is the title track, and I got diagnosed with an eating disorder last year. And it's not something I really ever saw coming, which was probably part of the problem. I was sexually assaulted when I was a little girl, and I think that shortly after that, when I was 13, I developed an eating disorder, because when you're 13 years old, you don't really have the tools to deal with those things.
Any correct me if I'm naive about this topic, but any signs or anything in the back of your head? Did you know that something was wrong, or did you just...
I knew that my relationship with food was not healthy, but I never thought that I would get diagnosed with anorexia.
Right.
Like, I was just like, no. That's for like people who are skin and bones, and I wasn't skin and bones. But now, as I've been through a couple years of ED therapy, anorexia is a behavior. It's not a body type. And you can have people who appear to be 400 pounds who are still anorexic.
So it's just how you deal with food?
It's your relationship with food. It's basically starving yourself when you shouldn't be. When you need to be nourishing your body.
Yeah.
And I think that when I was a little girl, my relationship with food was the control I felt with it. Like, it was the one thing when I was 13 when I felt like my life was completely out of control and I did not know how to feel all of these emotions. I could numb myself out.
You can control it.
You know, just as like drugs, alcohol, like the list is very long with things that can numb us out as humans. But my relationship with food, or the lack thereof, basically helped me numb out my emotions. And it helped me feel like I had control over something, because I could control the way my body looked, I could control what I ate, what I didn't. And so it like gave me a grip on something. However, that grip was so temporary. And so I've had an eating disorder for 20 years. And then becoming an artist, I mean, the entertainment industry is not exactly the best industry.
It's where you never eat.
For someone, yeah, and it's like encouraged. Like, the amount of times I have showed up to like shoots, and like I put on my wardrobe for the day and it's like a little tight, and a producer runs up to me and is like, "We don't have time to change that, just don't eat anything for 14 hours. And I'm like, okay. Like, I just thought that was normal, and now I'm like, that is so whack.
That's not normal.
So this industry is like a breeding ground for eating disorders. And all that to say, when I finally, started going through some of this like healing and awareness around all of these things, it really, really centers around loving yourself and finding to accept yourself and look in the mirror and be able to be like, I love that person staring back at me. And I know that's really cheesy to hear, but and easy to say, but it's so hard to do. And it's like a daily thing. It's not like you just love yourself once and then you're good.
Right. So it's not like you were diagnosed with anorexia and you're healed now. It's a
hell no.
It's a process.
Like, if anything, I'll have that for the rest of my life. Like there are tendencies. It's why a lot of addicts say, I never want to drink again or something, just because those tendencies will always be a part of me. But now I just have a lot more awareness on like why or why not I should do certain things or shouldn't do certain things. And what makes me feel like I'm in more of like a healing place and a healthy way to live, which I'm much more into than my prior ways of living.
Well, you said you were probably dealing with it for 20 years. So after this diagnosis, what allowed you to be like, I need help? Or how did you decide you needed help or something was wrong?
So I got diagnosed with anorexia subtype binge purge. And it basically meant I would starve myself for 2 weeks, and then I would like binge uncontrollably for a few days. And I remember January 2023, I was sitting on my kitchen floor, just quite literally eating everything I found in my sight, because I hadn't really eaten the couple weeks prior. And I couldn't stop myself. Like, I couldn't stop myself like shoving things into my mouth. And it sounds funny, but it was just so painful. Like I would literally eat an entire box of cookies and then an entire tub of ice cream and then like you just rob yourself of food for so long. Your body needs like nutritional rehabilitation, and so you're just like grasping for straws, but then I just couldn't stop. And so just these pain, and then after that I would feel so bad and I would go work out for 4 hours and then I would start the cycle again. And January of 2023, I was like, this has to stop. Like I can't do this alone anymore. And so, yeah, I just started going to see a couple doctors and then found an ED therapist, and then it started this like beautiful healing cycle. I think that oftentimes we numb out, even when we numb out on like social media and stuff like that, because life is hard. Like it's hard to feel the things that we feel on a given day.
Yeah.
And it feels a lot better to like numb yourself out or like do the thing that is your vice compared to actually feeling sadness or guilt or shame or all of these things that are like pretty heavy to feel. So the past couple of years like have been kind of ugly and so beautiful in the same light, because now like healing all of these patterns, these like really unhealthy patterns that I had for so long, so they just were so like etched in, it's just felt like life is more alive, you know?
That's great. I'm happy for you. But there's a line in the song that says, want to snap my fingers, look in the mirror and finally see her, but it's a battle. So do you finally see her now?
I do finally see her.
Nice.
Yeah, I do finally see her, and I do accept her for everything that she is, and knowing that life is gonna be this roller coaster, you know? Not to talk in metaphors all day, but like, but it is this like the good with the bad, the beauty with the flaws. I got this tattoo a couple years ago, and it's kintsugi, which is like a Japanese art form where they meld broken pottery together with gold. And it's the philosophy behind that art form is to really see your flaws as beauty. And I think like that has been what I've really been trying to see her as, you know, like see the flaws as beauty. What I would previously see as flaws, like I'm not pretty enough, I can't play guitar good enough, I can't sing good enough, I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't do that. I'm really trying and relearning and learning every day to love her just as she is.
Yeah. So next song, real quickly, Cliff Notes version.
I know, sorry, that was like a TED Talk.
No, it's great. I mean, it's so informative too, and for people that don't understand it or know about it, it's so helpful. And then people that do go through it, that you're helping, speaking out about it and stuff. And this whole album is about what you've been going through with that, with the sexual assault, with abusive relationships and all that kind of stuff. So the next one is Story I Tell Myself.
Yeah.
Tell me about that one. What's the story behind this one?
I think the words we tell ourselves matter. Mm-hmm. And the words we tell ourselves in our minds are, I think, the most potent dialogue that we have that often I know I wasn't really conscious of. And I think like that dialogue has such an impact with the way we show up in the world. And so Story I Tell Myself was actually the first song we wrote for this entire project. I remember coming in to the room that day being like, I want to write a song about all of the stories, like stories that I tell myself that aren't real. Because I also think being in this industry, or even looking on social media and seeing like these filtered, perfected versions of the perfect person, like that's how they're supposed to look, that's the kind of vacation they're supposed to go on, that's how their friends are, like of course it's going to be hard being human. And of course like my story I tell myself, they all kind of filter down to I am not enough, I am not pretty enough, I can't do this, I can't do that, blah 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 blah. And I think that when we can rewrite those stories and really try to take a tab of like what we're constantly saying in the back of our brain, it can completely affect your life differently. I think that you show up different in relationships, you show up different at work. I know I'm writing songs differently because I'm just way more conscious of that dialogue, and I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. We don't need to talk like that. Yeah. And it's all really like the scared little girl in me who's just scared she won't be accepted.
Which all of us are.
Which all of us have inside of us, okay?
Yes,
Like,
yes.
a lot of the shit we do comes from childhood trauma, okay? And so this song is all just about like being able to hold that little girl's hand and be like,
Yeah.
I got you. Like, let's do this together. And yeah, the world is scary. It is so scary, but we'll do this together and it's okay.
Yeah, and as I was, researching this stuff, there was a quote that came in my head that I keep hearing and I've always heard, so I wanted to look it up. But it's about self-talk and when you talk to yourself. And when it comes to self-talk, your brain absorbs it all, negative thoughts, even when you're just kidding about yourself. So if you're like, oh, I look fat today or whatever,
100%.
your brain doesn't know the difference.
You say yes.
So it's negative.
Completely. And that book, The Body Keeps the Score, like your body holds all of these things that sometimes we don't even know we're saying. We just like slough it off. And so it's like, let's just hold the counter here and actually try to like stop being mean to ourselves.
Yes, definitely. Well, it breaks my heart that you actually felt that way before because you're beautiful, you're so talented.
Sweet. So are you.
Oh, stop it, go on. No,
your eyes are glowing and you're wearing a heart shirt. Goodness gracious.
I want the
How
heart
could
for
I
you.
love you more? I love it.
You talk about eyes. Holy, I'm mesmerized by your
so
blue
sweet.
eyes. But anyway, I'm so happy that you're doing better and you're in
Thank
the
you.
process of healing. Is the songwriting for this album basically, did that help in your healing? Is that basically a therapy session for you?
Oh my God, I have saved so much money from songwriting this project because, yes, I mean, I also do have like a fleet of therapists, I feel like. I think therapy is so powerful and so potent, but I think that art is one of the most effective forms of therapy that, whether someone is a songwriter, whether you want to learn how to paint, like truly any form of art, whatever it is, dance, like it really helps us express ourselves and move those emotions and energy and like get it from like in here or in our bodies, like just and move it through you. And songwriting has been like, I'm just so grateful for the timing of everything for me to finally be able to be like, all right, I'm just gonna say what I want. I'm gonna make it sound how I want. It's everything happens for a reason, as they say, but I do feel like the timing of all this is like kind of crazy.
Yeah. Do you have any advice for anybody who's kind of going through the same stuff that you were going through?
Yeah, I'd say the number one thing I think anybody can do is listen to like that gut instinct. Whether you're a starting artist and you're trying to figure out like where you should go and how you should really get started or how you should develop your art, or whether you're just like a human navigating through the world. Like, I think oftentimes we can negate our gut instincts more than we should. And it's really important to listen to yourself because that is the thing that like makes you uniquely you. And even in like any workplace, if you can show up as you, then nobody else can do that. Like nobody's gonna have your opinions and your perceptions of the world. And so I think when I was younger, I was really scared to voice my opinions if they were gonna be different, or maybe, like I've always kind of been a little bit of a black sheep. I was like a huge nerd in school. And so I never really fit in. I was like not the cool kids group. And it's like, you don't want to fit in. Like if I can give any advice, don't fit in. Like be so different that you become the thing that everybody's like, oh, she's cool.
Yes. I was going to say that. People that basically peaked in high school, the popular kids.
Totally.
It's all downhill.
It's all downhill.
It's like,
from
where
there.
do you go?
Yeah, you want the slow climb, baby. Yeah, you want the slow climb.
Yes. Since you're going to perform Pain Tolerance for us in a few, can you just talk about that song as well? And
Absolutely.
give us a little behind the story.
Pain Tolerance, I remember walking into the room, Donovan Woods and Andrew Austin. I love Donovan so much. He's one of my favorite songwriters of all time. And I was like, guys, I want to write a song called Pain Tolerance. And they were like, why? I'm like, because I feel like I have been in so many relationships where I have dated the wrong person. And and even just the things I've been through, and I've kind of like wore every bad relationship and like the hard things I've been through in my life as like these like badges on my arm of like, yeah, I've been through that and that and that and that. Not that I would boastfully say this in the world, but like I would just keep it in the back of my mind, and I kind of like wore it as armor of like, world, hit me with your best shot, like I got this.
That makes me strong.
Yeah. And although I do think the things that we go through in life make us strong, I don't think that like the perception I had is necessarily helpful. I think it like attracts more chaos compared to being like, all right, I'm gonna learn from my mistakes, and I don't really want that energy.
Right.
You know, if anything, being like, I can make it through a toxic relationship just like brings on more toxic relationships.
Right, because you're kind of looking for that toxicity.
Totally.
You're like, I can handle this, bring it.
And I used to, when people would say, you're so strong, I would take it as a compliment. And I just don't think that that should be a compliment that you should be proud of. It's like, maybe I gotta like rearrange some things in my brain, actually.
Maybe you don't always want to be that strong.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, we're looking forward to the performance.
I can't wait.
In a few. Thank you again so much
Thank
for
you so
being here,
much.
and appreciate your time.